Hey there, and welcome to Rayon's Basics tutorial series. If you need more information about Rayon, you can book a demo with our team using the link in the description. You can also create a free Rayon account and use the templates below to draw along with me as we go through this tutorial. Let's dive in. All right, this tutorial is going to be all about blocks. So we're going to review everything that has to do with blocks in Rayon. We're talking how to create and use blocks, override them, make unique blocks, how to use the Rayon block library, how to use parametric blocks, hosted blocks, which are basically doors and windows hosted in walls. And we're even going to talk about how to generate AI CAD blocks. So hold tight, we're going to dive in. If there's any specific topic you want to address, you can take a look at the timestamps in this video's description and jump right to that topic. Otherwise, let's go. I'm going to start with a just brief overview of what are blocks in the first place. Basically, blocks are configurations of shapes in your drawing. So this can be furniture blocks, chairs, sofas. This can be opening blocks like doors and windows, and then technical blocks like section cuts and title blocks. So basically shapes where you want to populate your drawing with, but with having full control of editing them in batch, adding information onto them, like custom properties, which we're also going to discuss today, and more. So let's dive in, start with a simple example of how to create a block, and this will simply unfold itself, and we'll see how it works in Rayon. All right, so I just zoomed into this area, and I'm going to create, the simplest block, just a shape, side table to add to this garden terrace. And for now, you see I just drew a circle. It has this blue outline. Let's offset it to give it some detail. And this is now just a random shape. When I want to turn it into a block, I'm going to select all the shapes I want to include in my block. And I can go ahead to the bottom panel right here and click on block. Of course, there's also a shortcut for this, as we do for all the commands in Rayon. You see this just turned purple. Other than, this blue shape, for example, this is purple, so it's a block. And the other way to know it's a block is that it was added to my block library. The block library in Rayon lives here on the left panel, and we're gonna dive deep into its different options here. But first, I just want to show you that our side table is right here. Let's rename it, and I'm gonna call it side table. And I want to introduce a first concept when it comes to the blocks. The blocks in our block library are the block definition. They're like the master block where all the instance blocks that are populated across our drawing are taking their information from. So now that I have my block definition and block instances, they're all tied to each other. And once I edit one of them, it's going to edit the rest as well. So let's do an edit example. I'm going to select my block, go ahead to the edit button, and know that there is an override and edit. We're going to see how to override in just a bit. For editing, super simple. I'm selecting my shape. In this case, let's just quickly change its style to a different color. And you can see already that it changed all across. So across my model and even in my library as a definition. That's basically the idea of blocks. It helps me manage things at scale. So for example, if I wanted to edit my title block across, like, change my logo or change the project name, in this case, let's just add a simple color to the frame here. And you can already see that it did the same for my other block as well. So that's step one, how to create a block, how to edit blocks, and what happens once you edit them. Now let's discuss overriding blocks and just the concept of what if you have a block, but you want to refer only that specific one. So one really easy way to kind of detach your block from its other instances or definition is right-clicking your block and going to make unique. You see this one right here? Once I did that, you'll note that Rayon has copied this. It's now called copy of side table, and it's actually a separate block completely. I can change its name to something else. Let's do side table 1. And now if I go ahead and edit this one, so let's just turn that back to white, for example, you see it will only affect this specific block. All right, what about overriding blocks? For that, let me copy this block table here, and let's just make 3 instances next to one another. So you'll note that in some of your projects, you might want to have the same block, which makes it easy to then manage information about the amount of blocks you have in a project, for example, if you're doing procurement lists. And if you are, you're going to want to learn more about custom properties and tables and how to aggregate information about the blocks in your model. So there's a full tutorial about that, but I'll just say that as an example, you can add different information onto blocks, either in batch or to individual ones. And then you can also override blocks to have them show different representations. What do I mean? So I'll just show custom prop example really fast. If you go to this block here, you can add some custom properties onto it. On the right, you'll see that it has some default custom properties, things like the block's price, lead time, material. You can see that there are some Rayon default blocks, and you can create your own properties. So for example, let's add a prop for client approval. I'm going to select a yes, no option, and there you go. It was added. So let's say that this table was approved by the client. And now basically the information I added to the definition is automatically added here to all its instances. You can see client approval, yes or no. You can use this at batch, or if there's a specific one that wasn't approved, you can change that information specifically. If you have, one item with a different pricing point or from a different brand. So this is just a quick word about custom properties. We're going to talk about it soon as we discuss Rayon libraries as well. Other than custom properties and how you can add those to individual blocks, you can also override individual block instances. So for that example, I want to select this table and go to the override button. Remember, before we clicked on the edit, now we're going to do override. Override lets me show this block in a different representation from its other instances or definition, but it's still tied to it. For example, if I visit my layer panel up here, you'll see that this specific block has some hidden objects in it. This table is actually one that you can extend. So I have some chairs I can add to it, and also the table size itself. If I go ahead and edit it, I'll find that it has a larger shape. So the idea here when I override this table is that when I look at my list of items to procure, I'm going to see the same type of table all across, but in one place in my model, I might want to show its representation when it's opened up. So that's the logic behind that. And it also includes styles. So you may want to have a different color for each one of these tables if you're doing a colorful project. And this is also something you can do by overriding. So for overriding a style, I'm going to click it and go to the override button again. Select the item I want to override, let's say these chairs. And when you select an item in Rayon, you can access its style panel. Again, another tutorial to learn more about styles, but basically you can find that here. You can either detach or edit the style of all these chairs and table in batch. And let's just change it for some solid color for now so we can just see the difference really easily. There you go. And then I'm done. So you can see here that this is how I can represent different states, open, closed, or other states, and different styles, materials, colors, and such. For the same block, it still has the same name, and it's still going to be counted as the same item if I go ahead to our table tool to mark these up in an FF&E table, for example. All right, so we discussed how to create a block, override it, edit it, and we talked a little bit about its definitions. We're also going to discuss how to import DWG and PDF files and turn those into blocks and create your own custom blocks in Rayon. So stay tuned for that. Before we head down that road, I want to talk about how to use Rayon's library panel. So let's focus on that for a bit. We already saw that it's here on the top left. And I want to talk about the different options that are available here. So first of all, we have two tabs. You see the in model blocks and the libraries blocks. The in model blocks, pretty self-explanatory. All the blocks that are available or accessible in this model, the ones that I'm using here. We have some different options for filtering and more. Filtering is based on the logic of having custom properties tied to blocks like we just discussed before. There's always this default filter, which doesn't need to concern you too much, that has to do with how we manage our blocks on different canvases in Rayon. If you want to learn more, you're welcome to watch the tutorial about canvases and views, but just know that this is a default setting that shouldn't concern you. If you want to use custom properties to filter your blocks more in depth, you can go ahead and visit the add filter and then summon the filters that you've created or the Rayon default ones to kind of help filter and access blocks more easily in your panel. And this also applies to the in model blocks and the library blocks. So if I click on the library blocks right now, you're also going to see the filtering option. And here you'll have a libraries and blocks option. This is just an exhaustive list of all the blocks that you have access to. There's more than 10,000. So this is one way to search for them. I wouldn't recommend scrolling, rather using the search bar. Another option is to go ahead and visit the libraries tab, which will help you kind of see the different libraries that you have in your disposal. And also here you can see that there are 3 different types of block libraries in Rayon. So the first type is My Libraries. These are personal libraries that you've curated for yourself, and we're going to review how to do so in just a bit. You have Organization Libraries. So if you're working as a team, you can make sure that you and your teammates are all using the same block libraries. And this is a great way to standardize your work. Lastly, there are the Rayon libraries. We have almost 100 libraries. They contain more than 10K block libraries, commercial, residential, you name it, even fun one like accessories, pets, stuff like that. Again, also here, I would recommend going through the search bar to find a specific block. For example, I was just searching for chair before. As you can see, it saves your history, and this will summon all the libraries that have chairs involved in them. And let's just browse this library, for example. You can see here that we have tons of different chairs. Some of them are industry chairs and others. And when you hover over these, you'll note that they have some options. So first of all, you have their name, and you see which view you can see them at. So this is a top view as default. But if you open these blocks, you'll find out that they are actually block families, meaning you have them in top, front, and side views for creating floor plans, sections, and elevations. So this is a really handy option, and I want to show you also how you can create your own block families if you're looking to do so. So let's do that for the blocks that we created. I'm just going to grab another representation of our side table block, and let's also draw that in a side view. All right, next up, I'm going to select these random shapes and configure them into a block like we did before. Go ahead to the blocks in my model, and we'll see it was added here. Let's call it side table side view. All right, now if I want to unite these to be a family block, all I have to do is go to one of them in its definition and click it. I'm going to visit the 3-dot button, and you'll see that there are some options here. I'm going to select Create Family. Now that I've created this family, I can add items onto it. So I'm going to go ahead to my side representation, click on the 3 dots, and go to Add to Family, and scroll and look for my block family. In this case, it's the new one that I've just created. Now, if I click on Open, I can see that they're tied to one another. And another place to access your blocks is from their definition. Let me show you what I mean. If you have block in a top view on your model, instead of going ahead and looking for it in the block library, you can basically copy it, and you can access its family from the right side panel right here. So click on the side table definition and change it to the side table. There you go. This is also, of course, the same case here. So just for example, this is how it would be done. Let's go to the next item on our list, which is hosted blocks. Hosted blocks are basically doors, windows, opening blocks that punch holes within wall enclosures in Rayon. So let's start by drawing a wall and then seeing how that would work. I'm just placing a wall. Let's do one in top view for a door, and then we can do one in side view as a section for a window. The wall tool, if you need to learn more about it, you can find tutorials, and basically whenever you create a wall, you have its settings here. So its thickness, fill, and so on and so forth. It's pretty straightforward. All right, now that we have these set in place, I'm going to go back to the block libraries, and we can look for opening a block, opening as in door or window. We have tons of different types according to US, EU, and other standards. And basically, once you drag and drop a door onto the canvas, it's going to be added to a scale. And once you place it within the wall, as you can see here, it generated an opening. Let me zoom in there and you'll see it's just super easy to place. You can also locate it specifically by taking this midline and dragging it to where you want to locate within your wall. So how do insertion points work when working with hosted blocks? Basically, if you select this block and double click it, you'll see that it has this insertion segment. And this is what you need if you want to create your custom hosted block. Let's do that together. I'll start by just drawing a simple window. So bear with me. There it is, a simple window. I'm going to select these shapes and block them. What you would normally do is give this block a name and so on and so forth. But just to keep it nice and simple, I want to show you how to update the insertion segment in your block. Once you double click it or edit it, you'll see that it has by default an insertion point. So each block has this. If you want to turn it into an insertion segment, you're going to select the point, and on the right side, you can swap it to segment. The default is a horizontal one. Let's just adjust it vertically. And done. That's it. This way, this window block will punch a hole within our block enclosure, other than if it had only a point. In that case, it wouldn't punch the hole. So let's show you that. If I go back from insertion segment to point, you'll see that the wall has become non-reactive. So let's just undo this. I'm just going to Control Z on that. Here you go. And that's basically all you need to know about hosted blocks. In this case, again, you can drag this line if you want to locate your window differently in a wall enclosure. All right, this is the perfect segment. After talking about hosted blocks, we can go ahead and talk about parametric blocks in Rayon. Rayon has an array of parametric blocks, and in this example, let me show you some of our opening parametric blocks. So how a regular door block and the parametric door block will behave differently. And here I'll go to libraries and I'll look for parametric blocks. There you go. And here you can see a selection of parametric doors. When you click on a door family, so open it, you'll also see an icon indicating it's parametric. So this little icon right here. Once I drag and drop this door onto the canvas, you'll already see a difference. This one has a few arrows, so we'll examine that. But first I want to show you that parametric doors also will punch holes within the Rayon enclosure. So what is the difference? The difference is how you can set the size of parametric blocks, which is dynamic and adaptable, other than some of the regular blocks, which will sometimes just get distorted. For example, if you want to change the opening width of a door and you try to do it with a single block, so if you kind of just toggle on it, you'll notice that the door gets completely distorted, its fold doesn't get longer, so it's not really useful to us. In a parametric door, however, once you select it, it will hold this arrow, which will give you a few options, standard options for door sizes, and will automatically kind of shift the fold accordingly and will give you a nice complete block. Another option you have here, for example, once you decide where you want your door to be placed in the wall, you can also really seamlessly change the size of its opening. So this is one example of how parametric blocks act in Rayon. Let's take a look at how this would work on with staircases, for example. I'll just pan here, go back to the library, and let's look at parametric stairs. As you can tell already, these also have a lot of options for customizing. So the first thing you'll notice is that you can add stairs really easily just by dragging. So of course, this can be done individually for each side of the staircase. You can also then change the width of the staircase without distorting its handrail, for example. And also here, you can change this one as well. If you want to change the size of the stair itself, you could just scale it according to the size you need. So for example, if I just zoom in here, I can check the current distance, so the width of a stair, and I can change the size. So for example, if I just zoom in here, I can check the current distance, so the width of a stair, and I can change the size. which is 30 centimeters. Let's change this to maybe 27 or so. I'll just grab the scale command, select the staircase, done, and then I'll choose one stair and enter my distance. Let's do 27. So you see it changed all the different stairs here. And again, with the parametric abilities, I can change then other dimensions that I need. This will also apply for side and front views. So remember how we showed family blocks? Let's place this here, go to its definition, and then see its representation in side view as well. All right, so in the side view, it's also adaptable. I can change the size, add or subtract stairs. And then again, I can scale it with a scale tool if I need to change the height of each stair. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. We also have a tutorial about how to create parametric blocks or how to take Rayon blocks and turn them into parametric blocks. So make sure to check that out if you need. The next type of block I want to show you is one that I'm really excited about. It's the AI generation block. If you've browsed through the tens of thousands of blocks that we offer in Rayon but still didn't find the exact one you need, you're welcome to visit the AI panel here on the left. Let's use it to generate a block and see how it works. So basically, there are multiple things you can do with the AI tool. I invite you to watch our tutorial where I go through different workflows like turning a section into an axonometric view, applying different styles onto renders for design options, and also just learning or understanding how to do specific things in Rayon. It's a really powerful tool and we hope you're going to enjoy it. For this tutorial, we're just going to focus on block gen. So let's go ahead. If you're working with specific items and you want to represent them with accurate CAD blocks and not just, placeholder generic blocks, you can import an image of the actual block. Let's do that. So I'm going to import image and let's bring in this chair. Now I can ask the AI panel to create a CAD block out of this image. I'll go to the prompt bar and I'll start off by opening the toolbox and selecting the option that says turn a product image or simple prompt into a CAD block. Then I want to add this image into the panel. So I can just go ahead and add content. Actually, I could have added this table directly here, but I also wanted to show you the option of just adding a quick snapshot on any image that you may already have in your Rayon model. So there you go. And let's upload that. Now let's hang on while Rayon's AI panel is converting this image into a top, front, and side view CAD block. There we go. Rayon has converted my image into a CAD block. I can go ahead and add this into my block library, or I can bring these directly on the canvas. Let's insert them. And there you go. The next step would be to give them names, add any custom properties and such, and use them in our project. So we invite you to try out the AI panel. You can also create CADs with text prompts and really test this and have some fun. Now that we have created and worked with different types of blocks, we've arrived at this final step of this tutorial, which is how to curate your own custom block libraries and use them from different models in your workspace or share them with your team. So that typically can start either from a blank model or from an import. You might have a DWG or PDF file of industry blocks by vendors that you want to bring in Rayon. Let's create that type of block and then add some of those that we've created and used here. So I'm gonna jump back to my main space. And from my workspace, I'll start with an import of a DWG file. You can find the import button right here. And we have a DWG file of treetops that I'm going to bring in this instance. But again, you can bring in like custom furniture by different vendors. When you import the DWG file, Rayon is going to go through a one-step process of asking you help with scaling the file. The idea is that our users bring in anything from sitemaps to design details. So we need to help the software understand the ballpark of dimension. I'm following the prompt down here, which is to select 2 points of a block. And Rayon will detect a dimension. It just needs me to help it understand if it's meters, centimeters, inches, or feet, of course. And in this case, I'm seeing that it's 125, and this means this is centimeters, which is a typical treetop size. Then I'm going to click on continue. That's it. Rayon is now generating a model with my blocks, as you can see here. And actually, if I'm bringing in blocks as DWG, they're already going to be stored in my block library, as you can see. So I can start adding on information if I need, like custom props, or I can edit styles if I'd like. So let's do that really quick. And onto this model, I can also bring selected curated blocks from the Rayon library or create my own. Let's just copy and paste the blocks that we've made in this library as well. There you go. Let's say that these are the blocks I want to use from the rest of my models and share with the rest of my team. The next step would be to name my model. So give it a name that will indicate it's a library. And go ahead to the Share button, visit the Library tab, and Publish Blocks right here. If you ever want to edit this library, so add blocks, change information in them, you can just go ahead and update. Now let's go back to our main space, open a different model, and add blocks from this library to it. All right, I'm going to zoom in this floor plan, visit my block panel, and you'll see here that I have my personal libraries and the one that we've just created together. So if I just scroll this, I can bring in my blocks. All right, guys, thanks for hanging around. We used this tutorial to explain everything about blocks, how to create blocks, import blocks, use parametric blocks, hosted blocks, and even generate AI blocks yourself. Thanks for watching this tutorial. If you have any more questions, you're welcome to book a demo with our team by using the link in the description. You can also join our community and, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos like this. Have a good one.